So my student is just about like a second day student. They've produced a sound out of the saxophone already, but they still need some help with placement of the mouthpiece inside of the mouth. And we're just going to introduce tonguing and articulation. All right, everybody. So we're going to start our lesson today by taking off our mouthpiece, setting that aside, taking off our saxophone, setting that aside. And I want everybody to do after me, all right? Whoo, whoo, whoo. Constant steady stream of air. Perfect. Now what I want you to do is, while you're doing that, whoo, I want you to take the tip of your tongue, whoo, and let it act as a sort of stopper for the airflow. So you're going to continue trying to breathe out, to blow out, but I want you to use your tongue as, like I said, a stopper, like a cork, if you will. Yes. So you notice how it sort of stops the sound while you're still trying to produce air at the same time? Perfect. So we're going to apply that kind of logic to our mouthpiece now. Everybody take out your mouthpiece. Perfect. We're going to put the mouthpiece in our mouth. Remember, not too far up the mouthpiece, not too far on the edge of the mouthpiece. We want it in the middle where the reed sort of meets the mouthpiece at the bottom. Go ahead. Remember to do whoo as you're blowing into the mouthpiece. Perfect. Now we're going to do the same exercise we did before with the mouthpiece. We're going to use our tongue as like a little stopper, if you will. Go ahead. Perfect. Yep. So we're using our tongue again as like a stopper for the air, but we also want to touch the tip of our tongue to the reed. Don't use too much of your tongue, not the whole tongue. Use just the very tip of your tongue to touch just the very tip of the mouthpiece. Perfect. Yep, that's exactly what it's supposed to sound like. Now let's pick our saxophones back up. Put the mouthpiece back on. And just make a sound out of your saxophone. Yep, you're right. Yes, now we're going to try adding the tongue to our mouthpiece. Very, very gently, remember. Just the very tip of your tongue. This is what it sounds like if you use too much tongue. It gets all weird and grunkly and not sounding so well. So yes, we're going to tip just the tip of your tongue, yep, on the tip of the mouthpiece. Perfect, yep. And I want you folks to try to go as quickly as you can with your tongue to try to make it sound like a beep, try and make it sound like just back and forth, sound, no sound, no sound, 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 no sound. Back and forth as quickly as you can. Yep, some of you still have a very heavy tongue. Remember, just the very tip of the tongue has to touch the very tip of the mouthpiece. It doesn't take a lot to stop the reed from vibrating. Perfect. So when we stop our reed from vibrating, that's something we call in the woodwind business tonguing. So it's a form of articulation, which we'll cover next week in class, the different articulations. But just know that tonguing is a very specific articulation that we use to start and stop our sound on the saxophone. Let's give it a try again. Perfect. Yep, it's exactly what it's supposed to sound like. All right, so I started this video. This is the aside. This is afterwards. I started the video using just our air, whoo, whoo, and using our tongue as a stopper. This is something that we did in brass tech last semester, which was super helpful, taking away the horn and just doing the physical motions with the mouth to get that feeling within our, mouth. And then I started adding small bit by small bit. So we added the mouthpiece next, so that the student isn't worrying about trying to hold the saxophone correctly or trying to press down any keys, focusing on just the mouthpiece and trying to get that fundamental feeling of the tongue touching the tip of the mouthpiece without worrying about the rest of the horn. Then afterwards, we added the horn back in so that the student can be like, oh, this is actually what a saxophone sounds like. This is actually how you play it. And since they already had that physicality, that feeling on their tongue and in their mouth of what it's supposed to feel like when we stop the reed from vibrating with our tongue, it was easier for them to translate that into including the horn afterwards. Also, trying to use the horn all at once from the beginning can be kind of daunting. Like I said, trying to hold the thing and trying to push enough air through the instrument while also focusing on using our tongue and stuff. I feel like that would have been way too much all at once. So just something that I like to do is start small, add piece by piece. I think we also did this in woodwind tech with the clarinet too, just one piece at a time, add the barrel, add the upper joint, lower joint, and then the bell. Yeah, I think that's a very nice method to use, and yeah, thank you very much.